Hi, Ioannis.
Hello.
Welcome to the Fairly Current Show.
Thanks for having me.
You have previously published a book. Yeah, it was a book of it was non-fiction.
Correct.
Yeah, and this time around you have another book. Yeah, this one, Velvet and Cinder Blocks, which we'll talk about in a short while, which is fiction.
Correct.
Yeah. But you yourself are you are from New York and based in Malaysia now.
Correct.
Right. How has your travels and your work, your actual work, as it were, influenced the way you look at things and in this case influence the perspective on writing?
Well, I've done my best to try to get a variety of perspectives, and I think one of the ways to do that is to travel. And so, in that sense, having spent time in the West and spent time in the East, I think has been very beneficial. And I think particularly so post 9/11, and that's an era that this book revolves primarily around. And I think that having had contact, as I said, with Westerners and people in the East, has helped inform this collection. So.
And you mentioned just now September 11th and before and after. Yeah. And you moved to Malaysia around 2000, was it?
Was it 2000? Oh, I've lost
Around.
track. It's been so long. 2003, I think it was.
And
just before Mahathir stepped down.
Okay.
So I think that was what, October 2000.
So you've kind of seen Malaysia go through, well, effectively 3 prime ministers.
That's right.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So how has Malaysia changed for you as an outsider who's now kind of partly an insider?
How has Malaysia changed? I mean, that's a really good question. I think that's the burning question that so many people want to know. But well, we've gone through 3 prime ministers. I can say that much.
It's interesting. It's interesting that he uses the term "we." Welcome.
That's right. So I don't know. Malaysia has changed. I think it is developing. I think we have to give credit where credit is due. And I think though in some ways socially it hasn't developed as much as it has economically. I think that for countries to develop successfly, both of those legs, so to speak, have to be nurtured. And I think in some ways we've neglected the social at the expense of overall development. But it does seem that standard of living-wise, things are getting better, and we've seen some progress.
And now in this actually post economic crisis,
right.
The Malaysian administration, the government under Prime Minister Najib Razak,
right.
Recently unveiled a plan to spend about 1 billion ringgit a month. For the next year at least.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And how do you think? Of course, because I'm not sure if you know the details of this, but knowing from what you mentioned just now, that we're not expanding socially or stuff like that. How do you think this coming year might look like for the development of different parts of Malaysia? Do you think? Have you any thoughts on that?
In terms of economic development, social
development.
It's a good question. It's a lot of money, right? For a country of 27 million people.
Can you give a bit? Popteevee.
It seems, I just hope it's spent wisely. Are you asking me how I wish it were spent, or
because as a writer of non-fiction and fiction,
that's you want a dollar by dollar assessment. We'll be here for quite a while. Well, let's see. I mean, I think that
basically,
yes.
What do you think would be the most burning areas that you think should be focused on?
Critical thinking.
Yeah, critical.
Critical thinking. I think allowing people to think for themselves, encouraging people to question, to think outside the box, to develop some of their creative and logical skills. I think would be a big plus. That, of course, could be done in a variety of ways, but I think at the root that would be a good step.
Okay. And do you think that obviously you feel that that's not really happening right now?
Not enough, no. I think to some degree the government here would like to see everybody fall in line and do as they say, and continue to remain as subjects.
Would you hazard an opinion about One Malaysia?
I think it makes a very, very nice tagline, something that leaders could take to the UN and perhaps
And
sell there and
yeah.
so forth. I think, look, it's a great concept. I think to actually put something like that into action requires a lot more than words. I think an emphasis on words here and slogans has actually encouraged neglect, and I think that we're in some ways paying a high price for that. And I think that to really improve race relations here, to institute or manifest this idea of one Malaysia, there has to be more substance behind it. I think we have to encourage interaction between the races. That we can't say certain subjects are taboo. We can't see favoritism allocated to certain races over others. And I'm not talking about the NEP necessarily per se, but rights in terms of voicing out. I think people have to be able to communicate, talk about their differences. We have to see politics of race done away with. I think that's certainly harming the country. Everything here is so racialized. So one Malaysia has to delve into these issues and address them.
Do you think that, of course, since One Malaysia is a relatively new concept, because I want to kind of draw this back to the book, and some of the pieces have been published before, way before, and not all actually. It's not really located in Malaysia per se, the stories.
Well, not by name, I guess.
Not by name, yeah. But do you think that some of your opinions just now would have filtered into the writing?
The stories?
The stories.
Oh, I think without question. I mean, I'm in this collection, I mean, I'm trying to, in a number of the stories, I'm trying to look at how the concept of one Malaysia or lack thereof figures into people's lives, how it causes them to behave and react to the world around them. So in that sense, yes, I would say it does.
Okay, but what else can do you think Malaysian and also international readers can expect from this book if they're not from Malaysia? Because it's like you said, it's not really based in Malaysia. So what if like people in Singapore?
Hey, I think they'd want to pick up both copies and
because they come in two interesting
colors. That's right.
I wonder who designed this.
I do too. And the guy on the cover has a big similarity to someone I know as well. Strangely enough.
And
minus a cigarette.
I see. Minus a cigarette. Are you going to work on anything else after this?
I will be, yes, absolutely. I plan to continue to write fiction and nonfiction. For me, it's been a blessing to be able to work in both spheres. I think that's helped me along the way. And I think I discover more about the world writing in both different forms. So it's been a pleasure. I think, getting back to your earlier question as to what people outside of Malaysia would think of this book, I've tailored it in a way that I think it will appeal to people here in Malaysia. I think people in Malaysia will be able to recognize some of the characters, not as individuals, but as types, so to speak. And some of the struggles they're facing. And I think people abroad will also be able to recognize.
There's some interestingly disturbing twists. I think some of the stories,
such as,
not really. Well, the guy who was in the wilderness. I think that one.
The one at the time of the tsunami, I think it was.
No, there was one that he finds himself. You know which one I'm talking about.
Right. That would be the title story.
Yeah, and anyway, I think it'll be very interesting reading for a lot of you. So where can people find this book?
Hopefully at bookstores.
Online? No.
Hopefully.
Hopefully in bookstores. Publisher, dengar tu. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You bet. Thank you.
And
thanks a lot, Fami.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Cheers.
The unwelcome word of the week is tai ko. Tai ko. Big timer. From the Cantonese, which means big brother. No one dares to sabo that pengkit because she's like the tai ko around here.